Let's make snowflakes. Hi, it's Mrs. Doll here. Today, let's make some snowflakes. You're gonna need a circle tracer. Now, if you're at home, you could use a lid for a pot or any circle will do. You can make big snowflakes or little snowflakes. It doesn't really matter. I'm using this one. You can tell it's been used a lot. You're gonna need a pair of scissors. You're gonna need something to draw with to trace that circle, and you're gonna need a piece of paper. Step one, take your tracer and fit it on your paper. Now this one barely fits, but it's a nice big one, so I'm using it. Then place it in the center of your paper. Make sure all the sides are on so you get a nice good circle, and trace around your shape until, oops, I just drew on the table, until you've traced everything and it's a circle, and then just cut it out. You're gonna need a good pair of scissors, a nice sharp pair, because you're gonna cut through a couple different layers of paper. About, I think, 8 layers, so let's find out. Cutting around the circle. And then, make sure all your trash gets into the trash can, so your parents don't say, "You made a mess." Put it in the trash, and then you're gonna fold your paper. Now, fold it once, like a taco, and fold it again, like a quesadilla. So that's 1/4. So you have 1/2 of the circle, 1/4 of the circle, and if I fold it again, I have 1/8 of our circle. So 8 would fit around here and here. 4 would fit, and 2. And so if you open it up, you should see 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you're going to want to make some cuts. So I'm going to draw on mine first so you can see kind of what I mean about not cutting them too close, or not cutting too many shapes, but I'm going to start with my crust. You definitely want to take some cuts out of your crust. That's my first tip. Take some cuts out of the crust. So I can cut this any way I want to. I'm going to do like a zigzag to make it extra fancy. And then when you cut this side and this side, you're going to want to leave space between the cuts. Here I didn't have to worry about it. So say that I want to draw a heart, I could draw 1/2 of a heart shape. If I want to draw a circle, be 1/2 of a circle. And if I wanted to do a shape down here, I wouldn't attach it because that's going to make a huge hole when you unfold it. I'm going to do 1/2 of a square. Then I'm going to just draw that shape right there. But you see they're connected right there. You don't want to cut that off. And then maybe a couple cuts down there. I'll leave it at 1. Okay, then cut those shapes out. Now, like I said, you don't necessarily have to cut or draw on them. That's fine, you don't have to. Cut and cut. And my next tip is make sure the cut falls all the way out. If you cut it and leave it stay in the paper, what will happen is when you unfold it, you won't see any shape. So make sure that cuts out. Okay, and I'm gonna cut the whole crust off to make it extra fancy. See? So let's get a little preview here. The edge is gonna be fancy. Ooh, I think I wanna do one more cut right here. Okay, and then I've got this. Now what would happen if I cut too close to that? This whole tip would fall off, and we definitely don't want that. So I'm just going to cut it to there. Make sure it comes off. Okay, a little triangle at the top. And a heart shape. Okay, the more cuts the better, but with small children's scissors, you might not get exactly tiny little cuts. So I'm going to open it up and see what we have for our first snowflake. Ooh, I like the center of that. You can see the hearts. I like it. Okay, let's do another one. I'm going to speed it up. So here's my snowflake. The crust I cut crazy, and then on the sides I made sure that there was a little space between each cut. And now I'm going to open it. Ooh, that looks like a face. Then from the top. Whoa, whoa, not bad. Mrs. Domels' tips for an amazing snowflake. Tip number 1, make a crazy crust. Make lots of cuts or make the cuts pretty deep down into the paper. Experiment. Tip number 2, make sure when you cut a piece out that it falls down to the table. Tip number 3, don't cut the end off your snowflake. You're going to have a great big hole. And I don't think you want to do that. And tip number 4, if you're in kindergarten or first grade, you may want to stop after the second fold. That way it's easier to cut. Here is another way to make a snowflake. A little bit trickier, but maybe you want to know a different way. So start with your piece of paper, any size will do, and fold up at the bottom to the top, and we're just making a square. Line up the top and that corner and crease it. And maybe crease it again, and we're going to cut off that part with your scissors, and then that piece you could just throw into the trash. Okay, now we're just going to fold that triangle in half, match up the corner and the edge, and you're going to need to crease everything down again. Squish it down and push your finger along the edge, and that should give it a nice crease. Then take the left half and fold it down so that you have a straight line up and down on the edge, and crease it good. I use my fingernail, and then fold that part over. Your goal is that you don't want anything hanging out. You want everything level and even, and I did a pretty good job on my first shot there. Crease it again, and when I flip it over, you're going to make a cut and just chop that right off. And then you can make your snowflake as usual. And here's how this one turned out. There's actually 12 spaces around instead of just 8. I hope you had fun making snowflakes with me. Made a lot. How many did you make? Send me a picture on Canvas if you want, or email it to me at this email address. I'd love to see what you made. If you get bored during the holidays, make a lot of snowflakes. I'll see you guys next time.